Everywhere, the rebellion has started. People are standing up and vehemently and resolutely defending you. They're not simply angry, they're disgusted by the obvious disrespect you've received. They've had enough of standing by and watching you get hit. The breaking point has arrived. This is a large movement of strong allies standing firm, shoulders back, and prepared to fight, not some small-scale support. Not only is the tide shifting, but a wave of defenders who will not remain silent is washing over the area. The energy that makes the earth beneath your feet quiver is so strong that the masterminds of deception can feel it in their bones. What you're seeing is a cosmic awakening, not merely a change. They attempted to isolate you in order to give you the impression that you were the only one standing up to their system of falsehoods, but look about you. Legends are now standing up for you, their voices forming a resounding chorus that reverberates throughout both visible and invisible realms. The defenders arrive as thunderous pronouncements that rock the very foundations of the corrupt empire that was established against you, not as timid murmurs. These defenders didn't just show up. They did so because the truth can't be kept hidden indefinitely. It rises to the surface and erupts with uncontrollable fury, much like magma beneath the Earth's crust. The webs of lies that have been woven around your life are now being burned away by your story, your truth, which has turned into that eruption. Without a doubt, your adversaries used every weapon in their dark stockpile against you, releasing it with pinpoint accuracy. Instead of you crumbling and vanishing into the shadows they created, their strikes have become the same thing that roused your defenders. Every attack on you has made those who can see past the veil more determined. This is aggressive protection, not simply support. This is a statement that the traditional manipulative games will no longer be tolerated. Your defenders aren't just speaking up, they're taking a stance, putting their feet firmly on the battlefield your adversaries established and not moving an inch. The conflict they began is now coming back to them, not because of you, but because of the combined strength of everyone who would not stand by and watch injustice go unchecked. With every second that goes by, the armies of truth-seekers expand, their numbers growing, as more people become aware of the obvious corruption that was directed against you. The scales have dropped from their eyes. People who were previously on the sidelines, unsure of what to believe, can now clearly see how the system was biased against you from the beginning. It is impossible to perceive what is visible beneath the raised veil. Your adversaries wrote their stories with a sense of superiority, thinking that their power would never be challenged. However, they misjudged the strength of genuine truth and the transparency of their manipulations when they were examined by minds who were no longer prepared to believe pre-packaged lies. Instead of the skepticism your detractors attempted to foster, your name is now spoken with veneration everywhere. The inquiries that were once addressed at you are now directly directed at the people who planned your trial by fire, and the murmurs of uncertainty have changed to cries of support. How dare they? These comments reverberate throughout discussions on many platforms and at both small and large gatherings. How dare they try to destroy someone whose only transgression was to get in their way? How dare they fabricate fake realities? And how dare they alter what we see? Every well-crafted story your opponents have pushed into the world is consumed by the blazing inferno that is the disgust spreading like wildfire. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $20 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. People who have never met you in person suddenly stand up for you when your name is spoken. They are able to identify the signs of corruption because they have seen enough proof of the organized effort against you. Even while those who had doubts are now correct, their skepticism has been converted into fervent advocacy. They do more than just admit the injustice. They aggressively fight it wherever it manifests. Defenders are putting up an unparalleled fight against the slander, lies, and attempts at character assassination, refusing to allow these techniques to go unchecked. Watch them scurry. See the fear in their eyes as they become aware that their hold is slipping. The story they once dominated with iron fists now eludes them like sand, lost to the winds of truth, and never to be recovered. Every attempt to regain control simply serves to expose them more. Their claims become more pathetic, incoherent, and manipulatively obvious. Even the most casual observer now finds the strategies that earlier operated flawlessly to be awkward and clear. Even when the emperor is nude, he's still talking about the ornate garments that none else can see. They think they are in control of reality and can change perception as they choose, but they now realize that truth can appear without consent and that reality has no master. Their desperate attempt to gain control turns into the very thing that shows how they are falling apart. Observe how their charges become more ludicrous and less credible every day, and how their voices become softer. This is the epitome of desperation, not strategy. This represents the final stages of a power structure that was founded on sand and is currently being washed away by the tidal surge of consciousness awakening. Their mass diversion tools are no longer effective. The smoke screens they use to deflect criticism of their behavior evaporate before they have a chance to completely develop. As public awareness grows beyond their control, the platforms they commanded, the channels they controlled, and the algorithms they managed are all turning against them. They get together behind closed doors, desperately trying to find answers to a problem they never thought would arise. The issue of the truth starting to outweigh their fiction. They invest resources on fresh storylines, fresh attacks, and new control strategies, only to see each one fall apart more dramatically than the last. Can you feel how scared they are of this loss of control? It emanates from every last-ditch effort to stop the rising chorus of people standing up for you, every conflicting word, and every desperate action. They strike out, not out of strength, but rather because they realize that their authority was always a delusion that was upheld by a group consensus that is now quickly breaking down. They are truth seekers who have studied the facts, seen the injustice, and taken the deliberate decision to stand strongly in your defense no matter the cost. They are not merely passive sympathizers. They transcend the fabricated divisions your adversaries attempted to uphold and come from all walks of life. They are united by the common understanding that what occurred to you is a basic injustice that demands an answer, regardless of generations, backgrounds, or views. Observe their deliberate and accurate movements. When lies start to surface, they don't just disagree, they disprove them using facts, proof, and reasoned arguments that prevent the deception from taking hold. They can recognize every strategy before it is fully implemented because they have studied the playbook that was used against you. Researchers find links that demonstrate the organized nature of the attacks. Journalists construct gripping exposés that reveal the reality behind the allegations, and speakers talk to audiences, influencing them to pursue justice. These defenders bring skill to the fight. Through the most potent network in existence, human connection, Ordinary folks have discussions that raise awareness. Their strength comes from their love of the truth, not from their hatred of their adversaries. They have more endurance as a result than your opponents may imagine. Truth-based systems just need to endure, understanding that reality will always win out, whereas deceptive systems need ongoing upkeep to prevent collapsing. You are here for a reason. If you feel the call, answer it. Click Join to unlock exclusive content, deep insights, and a powerful community. This isn't just a membership, it's an awakening. Step into your divine purpose. Join the chosen. Despite attempts to muffle their voices, intimidation, and mockery, your fans remain unfazed. Every attack they receive simply helps to strengthen their case and demonstrate that they have discovered a truth so dangerous that the number of forces mobilized to suppress it only increases as onlookers realize how desperate such measures are. Your adversaries are now receiving the very publicity they planned for you, since the tables have turned with such amazing vigor. However, in contrast to their staged operations, this revelation exposes real corruption, real manipulation, and actual abuses of power that are no longer able to remain hidden. Their legitimacy vanishes in front of the public. The organizations they used as weapons are now the subject of scrutiny so great that the weight of public attention causes their foundations to crumble. The authority they purported to represent are now pulling away because they don't want to sink with ships that are absorbing water at previously unheard-of speeds. Your intended demise's architects are suddenly confronted with questions they are unable to respond to. When questioned about their tactics, they falter with answers that no one finds satisfactory. When confronted with proof of their collaboration, they hide behind legalities that only serve to shield their identities and not their reputations. When confronted with the repercussions of their behavior, they blame others everywhere but themselves, who bear the real blame. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians 6:7. You see, my friends, the Lord works in ways beyond our understanding, but his justice is always perfect. It's like a mighty river carving through the valley, sometimes slow, sometimes sudden, but always certain. A farmer plants his seeds in the spring, never doubting the harvest will come. And when a man sows deceit, manipulation, and control, he may think he's standing tall, but oh, the season of reaping will arrive. And let me tell you, when it does, there's no bargaining with the soil. There was a time when these people thought they were untouchable. They built their kingdoms on arrogance, on the backs of those they sought to destroy. They weaponized systems, policies, and public sentiment, thinking they could twist the world to their will. And for a while, it seemed to work. They sat high, voices amplified, their influence stretching far and wide. But let me tell you something. God is never mocked. The universe, his creation, will not be manipulated indefinitely. And now, the same walls they built to keep others out have become their prison. The very fire they ignited to consume the innocent now rages at their own doorstep. It is a divine reversal, a righteous turning of the tide. The eyes they used to cast judgment are now staring at them with scrutiny, and they don't like what they see. The standards they held up as gospel are now the chains around their own ankles. And do they cry out in repentance? No, my brothers and sisters, they flail, they shout, they rage against the heavens because they thought they were above consequence. The once loyal allies, gone, the adoring crowds, dwindling, the corporations and institutions they once leaned on, conducting silent investigations, erasing every trace of their influence. Not because they have suddenly found morality, but because the very presence of these fallen figures has become a liability. The platforms that once hoisted them up on golden pedestals now enforce the very rules they once gleefully imposed on others. And here is where the irony deepens, my friends. They fashioned the sword, but it was never theirs to wield forever. The divine balance, the great reckoning, has taken it from their hands. Now, when they need that influence, that power, that prestige the most, it vanishes like mist in the morning sun. The words that once shaped the culture now fall on deaf ears. Their passionate declarations turn to hollow echoes in empty rooms. I tell you today, what you see is not chaos, it is correction. It is not coincidence, it is consequence. The house built on sand has been met by the rising tide, and no matter how fiercely they try to fortify it, the foundation crumbles. Because truth will always outlast deception. Light will always expose darkness, and God's justice will never be mocked. So do not be troubled by their noise, nor distracted by their desperate attempts to reclaim what was never truly theirs. They are not victims of persecution. They are witnesses to their own prophecy fulfilled. They wrote the rules, they enforced the standards, and now they must abide by them. The Lord has set things in order. The law of sowing and reaping has been fulfilled. And now, all that remains is silence. Don't be misled. What you see goes beyond normal human concerns. This is about cosmic balancing, which happens when universal rules of justice and truth express themselves against forces that thought they were exempt. It is not only about personal vindication. The simultaneous awakening of so many brains, the series of discoveries, and the progressive breakdowns of hitherto dependable control systems all suggest orchestration beyond mortal forethought. Thus, the timing cannot be coincidental. Even the most skeptics are in awe of the perfection of this divine timing's precise manifestation. Your adversaries attempted to elevate themselves beyond cause and effect, natural law, and the basic reality that all energy eventually returns threefold to the cosmos. Now, unable to stop what they started, they must deal with the karmic tsunami that their actions have caused. Observe how seemingly unrelated occurrences come together to reveal what was concealed. Unexpected sources of information might reveal information. At pivotal times, witnesses discover bravery. Technology records evidence that was previously believed to be safely hidden. And anonymous sources put everything on the line to guarantee that the truth is revealed. All of this is the result of synchronicity operating with surgical accuracy. Nothing happens by accident. The blossoming of divine justice doesn't follow human schedules. It has a purpose that goes beyond our narrow viewpoint, addressing not only outward signs, but also underlying reasons. It doesn't only focus on the players involved, but also the entire institutions that made their rise possible. This is transformation on a scale your adversaries could never have envisioned. It is more than just correction. They sense the change in the cosmic current. The defense they had before is gone as global energies stop supporting projects based on dishonesty. The coincidences that once helped them escape now work just as hard to expose them. The serendipity that seemed to keep them one step ahead of the repercussions suddenly runs out. No riches can buy exemption. No relationship can offer refuge. No plan can outsmart the basic rebalancing that is taking place, and no earthly force can step in to stop this process once it has begun. What was meant to fall will fall. What was concealed will come to light, and what was constructed on falsehoods will crumble, creating room for structures based on reality. The greatest triumph is achieved by standing firmly in your convictions so that reality itself supports you not by using force. You stayed focused on authenticity, which doesn't need upkeep, coordination, or continual reinforcement to withstand inspection, while your adversaries spent all of their energy creating complex lies. Since real truth speaks with an authority that fake stories can never match, you never had to create counter-narratives. Authenticity resonates in ways that calculated message cannot. It affects the soul, instead of just taking up mental space. Your patience showed confidence, while their frenzied activity betrayed a security that no external success could ever disguise. Your consistency stood as witness, where their shifting positions indicated manipulation, and your silence said volumes, where their countless words made only noise. The defenders who now defend you understood something your adversaries could never understand. True power is revealed through perseverance, rather than loudness. They saw how resilient you were in the face of adversity that would have crushed weaker people, and they were inspired to join the rising chorus. Victory is not the destruction of your adversary, but rather their insignificance. It is not punishment, but rather the inevitable outcome. It is not retribution, but rather the restoration of equilibrium that benefits everyone, except those who benefited from its absence. This triumph leaves only clarity that shows the way forward. No residual animosity, no sour aftertaste, and no basis for more confrontation. The masses that formerly accepted the stories about you are now doubting everything that was given to them. The people who helped spread lies are now facing up to their roles in sustaining injustice. Now the systems that made it easier for you to be targeted are examined, exposing their susceptibility to manipulation. You have triumphed by just being beyond the personas they attempted to impose upon you, by carrying on creating while they sought to destroy, by advancing while they were intent on destroying you, and by believing that truth doesn't require a complex defense when lies eventually crumble under their own weight. A soul tribe, people who are united not just by a shared purpose, but also by a resonance that goes beyond simple alliance, is gathered around you in addition to supporters. There is a profound, awakened recognition that goes beyond just intellectual agreement. These are souls who see something in you that beckons to something in them. They protect you not out of duty, but out of a deep understanding that the attack on you is an attack on truth, on the possibilities your life holds, and on futures that your voice contributes to bringing to life. Because it is in line with their own ultimate purpose, they support you. Your soul tribe offers more than just numbers. Each member contributes special skills, viewpoints, and assets that come together to form a defense stronger than any one hero could muster. Some people write, while others speak. Some people conduct research, while others plan. Some people make, while others defend. Together, they create a support system that naturally adjusts to every new obstacle. Observe how they function, with a synchrony that implies cooperation without the need for a central command. They react to events so quickly and accurately that your opponents are baffled by how a successful answer may arise without the hierarchical control they themselves need. This soul tribe gets stronger with every obstacle, unlike traditional alliances that break under duress. The difficulty meant to separate you instead creates bonds of unheard-of strength among individuals who understand the importance of what happens. These relationships build networks that function partially through consciousness itself and partially on visible levels, making them more robust than your adversaries could have imagined. They perceive traits in you that are worth defending, such as vision, that opens doors beyond present constraints, and courage that validates their journey and motivates their own authenticity. Their defense of you turns into a defense of these attributes within themselves, strengthening both parties in the process. Because they have a transactional mindset that only acknowledges relationships based on mutual benefit, your foes are unable to understand this bond. They are unable to imagine a bond based on an understanding of a common goal that goes beyond personal benefit. As they consistently undervalue the resiliency of the support system around you, this blind spot turns into a critical weakness. Now everything is different. The point at which individual awakenings combine to form a collective consciousness that cannot be undone by any means accessible to those who profited from earlier circumstances is reached when momentum shifts so drastically that even those who denied the change must admit its existence. Your power was only momentarily hidden by smoke and mirrors that gave the appearance of weakness, never truly weakened. What comes out of that smoke is stronger than it was before, honed by fire that eats away at everything but the most important truth, and tempered by hardships that would have destroyed weaker foundations. The attacks intended to define you have instead exposed you, not as your adversaries depicted you, but as a resilient person whose purpose transcends attempts at limitation, whose effect reaches beyond areas they tried to deny you, and whose resilience beyond ordinary explanation. They reach audiences they unintentionally built with their unrelenting concentration on destroying what they could not control. And you come out bigger rather than smaller. Now see how everything they constructed against you is now being used to your advantage. The platforms they utilized for criticism turn into settings for validation, and the attention they attracted changes from criticism to admiration. Your rise is powered by the same energy that they used to bring you down. Regardless of the resources used to uphold previous narratives, they are powerless to stop it. This is a paradigm change that impacts everyone who sees it, not just those who are personally transformed. When enough consciousness aligns with greater truth, systems that were once assumed to be invincible can be transcended, as your journey serves as a pattern for others encountering similar opposition. Your adversaries thought they wrote your story's conclusion. They congratulated themselves on seemingly thoroughly planning your demise, making rehabilitation appear unattainable. But here you are, at the start of chapters they never saw coming, surrounded by allies they never thought of, poised for influence they cannot understand due to paradigms that constrained their perspective. While they were focused on influencing exterior perceptions, the power you now access operates beyond worlds they can influence. While they spent all of their energy upholding illusions, you made contact with sources of strength they are unable to access using any of the methods at their disposal. Your unstoppable power originates from alignment with truth so fundamental that opposing it becomes opposition to reality itself, a battle no entity can sustainably wage, regardless of temporary advantages. It does not come from position, resources, or influence, though these may naturally flow toward you. Now that more defenders are coming forth every day, the awakening is accelerating. Those who planned campaigns against you suffer unanticipated repercussions. The systems they controlled change in ways they cannot stop. The truth they wish to conceal spreads into forests they cannot swiftly clear in order to preserve their meticulously crafted reality. Your time has arrived, not by willpower or strategic acumen, but by the organic emergence of that which has always existed under fabricated limitations and is now vanishing in front of our eyes. The cosmos itself works in your favor, not as a conclusion, but as the start of opportunities that were previously unthinkable in the circumstances that your opponents struggled to preserve. They've had enough of the manipulation and are disgusted by what was done to you. With every day that goes by, every new discovery, and every failed attempt to keep control of a narrative that has escaped containment and is now rewriting itself in accordance with higher principles than human agenda, their numbers increase. They fiercely defend you against those who continue spreading fabrications. The gears of the universe turn. Truth comes to light. Justice is served, and you need only keep being who you are.